Brendan Schaub versus Nate Diaz is official. Nathan Diaz and Brendan Schaub are going at it. Well, I say going at it. Brendan Schaub, obviously, and his friend, who was previously an interim heavyweight champion within the UFC, and Brendan Schaub, former top 10 heavyweight. They were having a little heart-to-heart. You know, Brendan Schaub said on his podcast, Thick Boy, I've just dropped my headphones, he said, you know, look, my friend is really experiencing the result of dedicating his life to mixed martial arts for his whole career, and he's got some signs of CTE, and you know, this guy helped me out when he was on the come up, and you know, paid for his gym membership, and then you know, and Brendan Schaub was getting emotional about it. Nate Diaz, being Nate Diaz, calls him a pussy. Stop crying, pussy, you're not a real man, whatever, says that online. And we're going to react to it today. We're going to be looking at Brendan Schaub's response. I'm going to be talking about them both, Nate Diaz and Brendan Schaub. We're going to be dissecting it and breaking it down. There's a few really funny things that can come out of this, and I've got a few ideas of what they could do, because this is big money. This is a big story. No one likes Brendan Schaub for him being a comedian. Everyone knows Brendan Schaub for, you know, a marauder like he was back in the day. Yes, he got finished a few times. However, he was top 10 heavyweight in the world. He can fight. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. There's a few fun things that can come out of this, and we're getting to see the old Brendan Schaub. The way he speaks on his podcast in response to Nate Diaz is, this is a fighter. This is a guy who's a fighter. He's not a comedian, you know, and you can tell he's not a comedian by his comedy, because it's, what's the correct word? Yeah, atrocious. But anyway, we're going to put our headphones on, we're going to sit and we're going to watch this. Let me switch your view. Give me your thoughts. Here he is. So he's just saying about, you know, Nate Diaz's life right now. He didn't get paid for the Masvidal fight, this and this and that. Let's keep watching.
What he's going to do next. Conor, he's probably waiting on that. Conor's tied up with the TV right deal, so he's probably banking on that. He fought Masvidal, lost to Jake Paul, right? That's a big blow to...
The Jake Paul loss is a big blow.
So I guess he needs to do this to stay current. I retired 15 years ago, man. That being said, that's social media. This isn't real. Because here's what's real.
Yep. Here's what's real.
I'm not
fucking based Brendan Schaub. I will fuck you up. He's just saying it how it is. He retired 15 years ago. Listen to him talk. I have not heard Brendan Schaub talk with passion like this in, I think, 5-6 years. 5-6 years since the Mayweather-McGregor fight, and that whole time when he was being mouthy to everyone. Probably 6-7 years ago. If that was 7 years ago, fuck, I'm old. 6-7 years ago. Just listen.
Real. Because here's what's real. I will fuck you up. That's real. I'm not asking for this. I don't want to fuck him up. I'm not trying to fuck him up. End of the day, if he walked in right now, I said, Chin, Case, can you guys leave? Only one of us is going to walk out unscathed. And it's me.
You can see him getting a bit like, okay, let me start ranting now. You know, he said he didn't want to get into it. He didn't want to make it personal. He was just going to say one thing. Here we go. Here we go. Also, 68 million views on this channel. Fair enough. With 1,000 videos, though. Fair enough. But, like, still, I think I've got almost 200 videos. Nowhere near 68 million views. So, hit the subscribe button. Let's keep reacting.
Fucking day of the week, 365 days a year, I will snap his fucking neck. I know.
So, now he's saying, I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. But this is what I mean. This is, if Brendan Schaub would do this every single video, every single episode? Yes! Do it! Please, you'd be a much more liked character than you are now.
Is his fucking area code 209? I know, 209.
Cool. Fair enough.
None of that is real.
Yes, thank you.
Against Donald Cerrone.
He's ripping him to pieces here. He's saying, you know, his personality trait is, 209 West Coast gangster, motherfucker. I'm a West Coast gangster. Yeah, I don't give a fuck, motherfucker. What Brendan Schaub is doing here, he's saying, look, you're not a real tough guy. You can say this over Twitter. And I believe after this, Brendan Schaub kind of gives his opinion on what a tough guy really is. And I kind of agree with him. Look, I want Nate Diaz to respond. This is incredible. I'm loving this from Brendan Schaub. You know, I was a bit iffy on him, but I was always one of those guys that defended him. I always really liked him. For some reason, I was just like, you know, Brendan Schaub's all right. You know, he does nothing wrong. He has some terrible takes sometimes, and sometimes his knowledge on current fights and stuff is just ridiculously bad. But still, I've never had an issue with him. I've always thought he's like a really fun guy.
Dude, he's had some great fights, tough dude.
That's true. That's true. He is a tough guy. He's had some great fights. But you have to remember, Brendan Schaub's like, I bet you he's like 240 pounds at the moment.
I don't give a fuck. I'm 245 pounds.
There you go.
Black belt, top 10 UFC heavyweight in the world at one point. I'm not out of shape. I'm a fucking beast when it comes down to. I know.
Yep.
I tell jokes. I
Yep.
do crazy shit. I made some mistakes. Oh, he got knocked out by Nogueira. He's into trucks. I get all that. Firing the kids, silly dude. I get all that. At the end of the day,
Here we go.
the way this works, I'm not a civilian like the rest of his goons around him. I'm not this fake gangster. I don't go looking for fights.
Can I just say, Nate Diaz has a family and he has kids and he's out here on the streets 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year. You'll see a clip of Nate Diaz like running up on someone with all of his guys being hard as fuck. Fuck you, motherfucker. All this like, and bear in mind, when you're a UFC fighter and it's maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, it's fun. It's entertainment. Oh, look, Nate Diaz is running up on him. Now, when you've lost as many times as he has and you're not fighting actively and you've got a wife and kids at home, it no longer becomes cool. And it's never really cool. It just becomes now a bit embarrassing and a bit cringe. You know, so what Brendan Schaub is saying here is, look, he's not doing all this thing, acting like a tough guy. He essentially is saying, I'm a tough guy, I don't have to act like it.
I know I'm tough. I don't have to and black
There you go, there you go, there you go.
blast it out and prove it every day because I'm insecure because whatever shit he has going on with his childhood trauma. I don't have to do that.
Oh, he's getting deep. He said he didn't want to make it personal, and he is. Whatever shit he has got going on with his childhood trauma, it's probably an insecurity. It's probably why it's probably him trying to, let me turn my volume down slightly. It's probably him trying to let something out, trying to, oh well, let's keep listening.
At the end of the day, I will twist your fucking neck off. Ask your boys. There's many of guys that you fucks with, that I've rolled with. Ask them how it went. Go ahead and ask them.
Now, what he's saying, I mean, Nick Diaz's main boy is Chris Avila, the little boxer who's like, what, 6-2 or something like that. No knockouts at all. Never knocked anyone out. He's little. He's like 5'7", I think. 5'7", 135, something like that. And Diaz rolls around with all these guys, and you know he's the man in that group. You know, the rich guy in the group. The you know, he's from the West Coast gangster, motherfucker. That's essentially what Brendan Schaub is saying. Look, I've trained with these guys. I'm a bigger guy than them. He's a heavyweight to train with these little guys. I strangle them all. That's what he's saying. That's essentially what he's saying. Like, he ragdolls them, as he should as a heavyweight. But, like, Brendan Schaub's saying, look, the guys you hang around with are not all that. And he could maul everyone in your group.
Very close guys to you. Ask them how it went, bud. That's real. This isn't real. And the difference between you and I, Nate, a million fucking things, don't get me started.
A million things are the difference between you guys. That's true. IQ, you know, ability to... I mean, Brendan Schaub has done very, very well for himself in terms of, you know, he's got a platform close with Joe Rogan, does the comedy, has this podcast, which is doing well, you know, 80,000 views on this video. And yes, I'm not subscribed to it. Let's quickly change that. I feel bad. I've enjoyed this video. But look, their careers have went very differently. Nate Diaz has undoubtedly made more money than Brendan in their fighting career. I would say Brendan has had the better performances, but then also Diaz never really loses. He kind of just runs out of time, you know. Diaz always does enough to keep himself in the fight. Diaz reminds me of Kevin Holland. You know, if you don't finish him, it's not a proper win in a lot of the fans' eyes, which is a really annoying thing. I mean, Diaz got absolutely fucking brutalised by Masvidal and Kevin Holland, but people seem to ignore that. But whatever. You know, it is what it is.
But the difference between you and I, if you start crying because your brother who has CT, the difference between you and I is if your brother, and Shane's a brother to me, if your actual fucking brother came out and started getting emotional, or if you started coming out getting emotional about your brother's issues with CT and fighting,
which the Diaz brothers definitely do have. They definitely have a fucking boatload of CTE.
and all this shit, because we know he has his issues, I would support you, even though you've been a dick to me the entire time.
That's the thing, right? With all these fighters, and regardless, even McGregor, everyone, all these guys, even if they fucking hate each other, when someone gives their life to a sport, the way Schaub has, and the way his friend Shane has, and the way all these athletes have that are in the UFC, there's a certain thing, if one of them shows signs of CTE and one of them slurring their words, everyone's like, fuck, you know what, I hope you're alright. And even if you fucking hate each other, no one will say, good, he's got CTE severely and he can slur his words now and he's got problems mentally and physically. No, it's a brutal consequence of being hit in the head and having concussions in your early 20s all the time, and training with concussions and not taking the proper rest and recovery. And Brendan Schaub's saying, no matter how much I hate you, if you had any issues like that and your brother has any issues like that, I'll support you and say, hope you guys are all right. I'll be there. We'll speak about it, be open about it, teach people how to get through this type of thing and to recover properly. You wouldn't say, oh, stop crying like a little bitch because your friend's got CTE. Because there's this insecurity within Nate Diaz. And yes, Brendan's probably saying it's probably from his upbringing. That's here nor there. However, he does have a point.
That's what I do. That's what men do, bud.
That's what men do, bud, yeah.
I wouldn't bash you. And this whole narrative, your entire narrative, oh, fuck the man. Bud, you've been paid more than 99% of the fighters. Cut the bullshit.
Yeah. You're not a normal fighter now.
We come to this MAGA shit. It's all fake, bud. You're not fooling anybody. I've seen how the sausage is made.
Oh!
You're not tough to me.
It's all fake.
I know tough guys. Tough guys don't get on the internet and tweet at another grown fucking man who beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
When they're crying or they're getting emotional because their friend of 20 fucking years is having major issues, suicidal thoughts. That's pussy.
He's getting... Oh, fuck off with the adverts, man. He's getting...
I'm a legend in hero word.
Look at him now. He sat up in his seat now. Because, he didn't want to get... It's passion. It's just pure passion about the sport and about how you should speak to guys that are suffering from this type of thing. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not the bit... I don't really care about the whole ins and outs and the emotional side of this. I just think it's awesome that Brendan Schaub and Nate Diaz are going at it, because... It's a new little storyline that breaks off the main storyline. Do you know what I mean? It's like a little side quest that's just fun to cover and talk about.
That's the difference between you and I. I'm not some moron who buys into your tough guy narrative, bud. I don't give a fuck you're from Sacramento. That's your biggest thing? That's it? That's the narrative?
It's fair.
I know tough guys from Sacramento. What are you gonna do, Nate?
Look at the vein in his neck.
Volume punch me, motherfucker.
What are you gonna do, Nate? Look at the vein in his neck. Volume punch me, motherfucker. That's all he has. That's all Diaz has. That's all he has.
That's what you're gonna do? What are you gonna do? Out-grapple me? In what fucking sense? What world are you living in? This is the real world. Now, if you're doing this because you fancy yourself a fisticuffs,
What?
if you fancy yourself, you want to actually grapple me.
Let's do a grappling match.
I'm not hard to get a hold of. Pull the fuck up.
Do a grappling match.
And you can show up with all your boys.
Do a
all that
grappling
stuff.
match, guys.
But what a real man will do is pull up one-on-one. I don't have a posse. I don't need one, bud. I'll take my kid off at fucking practice, roll over, twist your fucking neck off, and then pick him up just in time, unscathed, with a Diet Coke.
Fucking hell, Brendan Schaub. This is the old school trash talk we need. It's just fucking... It's not this pussy weird stuff now. This is fucking real. I love this. I love this. Good fucking man.
And that's how this goes. For the rest of your fucking life, bud.
Oh.
Whenever I want. I didn't ask for this. I don't want to do this. This isn't what I do.
Fucking good man,
I
Brendan.
don't like drama. I didn't ask for this. Again, and if you came out, I would support you, Nate.
Yep.
I support fighters. Name one fighter that I've kind of pushed down. Name one. Ever. In the
Probably no
history
one.
of doing this for over 10 years.
I don't think anyone.
I only champion people. That's what men do. I don't have insecurities.
That's true. I don't think he's insecure about
I
anything.
want to make more money than God do. One of them, Nate. Different fucking side effects for dedicating their lives to MMA.
Right. We're going to leave it at that. You can see how animated he gets, see how passionate he gets, and you can see him starting, then he leans forward and he starts pointing at the camera. What are you going to do, volume punch me? That is absolutely brilliant. What are you going to do, just belittling his whole ability as being able to do any sort of damage. Fight pass, Diaz versus Schaub, do it, set it up. Meet at 200, 210. Diaz probably walks around 180. You'd have to do an open weight. I truly think they should set this up. I think if they set this up, it would be fun. It would be huge. It would be finally just two men going at it, settling something that some bad blood has boiled over. Now, I think Brendan Schaub would win, obviously. I think Nate Diaz isn't a big guy. He's a natural 155er who is like a skinny fat complex, and he shouldn't have ever been fighting at welterweight ever. He doesn't have the build for it. He doesn't have the frame. He's not nearly big enough for it. He got some good matchups. But I mean, his striking is abysmal. But he just can tough it out, and Max Holloway had that walking you down sort of style and take punches to give punches, but Holloway's definitely steered away from that now. Diaz never steered away from it, and he never has, and it's all he really has. He technically he's one of the worst fighters in the UFC to have made the most money, and he's tough as nails. He can take a punch. I think they should set this up. Fair play to Brendan Schaub for going at him like that. Diaz, he just called out Diaz for how it is, insecurity, not true man, just ripping him to pieces. And I'd love to see it. I think they could do something. Give him $50,000 each. Give them 50,000 each. You'd probably get a few, maybe a few thousand more Fight Pass subscribers, and Diaz is a big name. Brendan Schaub coming back after 15 years out would be cool for even a grappling match, and there's a bit of bad blood there. Diaz is a huge name, obviously, and let it boil over. Let's see who the toughest guy is. Let's see who the pussy is. You're gonna speak like that, back it up, and it would be really fun. I'd really enjoy it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, comment, give me your thoughts on this situation. I want to see Schaub do it. I'd rather see Diaz do grappling matches than fight again, to be honest. He boxed Masvidal, he won, fair play to him. But I would rather him see do grappling matches now. You got a family and kids at home. Focus on your jiu-jitsu, focus on your martial arts. Stay at home, don't be running out in the streets at night like an idiot. Let me know your thoughts, folks.